Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the NBA slate on DraftKings for Friday, April the 21st. We got another 3-game slate for Friday night, guys. We got Game 3 of the Celtics and Hawks series, we got Game 3 of the Cavs and Knicks series, and Game 3 of the Nuggets and Timberwolves series. So 3-game slate, going to go game by game, give you guys kind of a quick preview of this 3-game slate, what I do like, taking a first look on Thursday night. But as always, guys, before we do get started with the breakdown, if you guys do enjoy these DFS videos, if they do help you out, make sure you hit that like button down below. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you guys are new to the channel, if you have never checked out PrizePicks before, PrizePicks is the sponsor of this video. You can actually sign up for PrizePicks and use my promo code Noah. When you sign up, if you do look at the bottom of the screen, when you sign up for PrizePicks with my promo code, you'll get your first deposit matched up to $100. And if you've never heard about PrizePicks, they are a player prop site. Very simple, easy to use. You're just taking more or less on a player's projection. They do already have a lot of props posted for Friday's games. You can take a look at their board, see if there's anything that stands out to you. They even have some stuff up already for Saturday's games. So yeah, give them a try, guys. Make sure to sign up. Use that code Noah when you do. And again, you will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you sign up with my promo code. But let's move on to DK, talk about this 3-game slate. And we'll start off with the first game of the night, the Celtics and the Hawks. So the Hawks, they really haven't been able to get much going in this series. They're down 0-2. They're going back home here, so maybe Atlanta plays a little bit better here at home. Maybe they keep this game competitive. Maybe they pull off a win. On the Atlanta side, I really haven't been rostering many Atlanta guys so far in the playoffs. They just haven't really been a team I've wanted to target too heavily. I will say, though, that the price tags on Trae Young and DeJounte Murray do look somewhat appealing. If this game is competitive, you should get pretty big minutes for Trae Young and DeJounte. Now, Trae's minutes have actually not been that high so far in the playoffs, just 35 and 34 minutes. But 8,400, we know Trae can pay off this price tag. I know the matchup's not great, but I still think Trae's a viable GBP option. I think DeJounte Murray at 8,100 looks solid as well. He's been really good in this series, been much better than Trae, been much more productive than Trae. His minutes have also been a little bit higher as well. I feel like DeJounte might get a little bit more ownership because he's, because the game log's so good and he probably, is going to project to play more minutes. But I think him and Trae both look pretty similar. I would honestly prefer whichever one's lower owned. We'll have to see. I think it probably is going to be Trae. So I do like Trae and GBPs if you want to go there. The rest of Atlanta, though, I really don't like too many of these other guys. Clint Capella, just in this matchup against Boston, it's a really tough spot for Clint Capella. Hard for him to really get much going against this Boston interior defense. Not super interested in Capella, not super interested in Bogdan or Hunter. I mean, DeAndre Hunter is a cheap value option that you could go to. He did have a really big game last game. Feel like that's a little bit of an outlier. I wouldn't expect that type of performance again from Hunter, but we know the minutes are going to be there for Hunter, and I've said it so many times, on these playoff slates, it's just really hard to find value. So if you want to go to DeAndre Hunter for value, I think it's fine at 4,600. He is an okay option. But that's pretty much it for Atlanta. I just don't really see anything else I like here, so let's move on to the other side of this game now with Boston. And for the Celtics, I mean, there's a lot to like on the Celtics. It's a really good matchup for them against Atlanta. This Celtics team, they're running a really tight rotation. They're pretty much running an 8-man rotation, and we can expect really big minutes for Tatum, Brown, Derek White, Marcus Smart. Those guys, I think all 4 of them look pretty solid here. Tatum at 9,900. Don't really have an issue with Tatum. What really it comes down to is, can you find the value to fit Tatum in? But if he's the pay-up option you want to go to, I think that's totally fine. Tatum didn't have the greatest game in Game 1 of the series, but did bounce back with 56 DK points last game. He's played 40 minutes in both games in this series. He's probably going to play 40 minutes once again here. Shot attempts have been great. Production's been solid. Really nothing negative to say about Tatum. Jaylen Brown at 8,300, I think also looks pretty good here. His price tag a little bit more appealing just because you're getting a big discount dropping down from Tatum to Brown. Brown's going to play huge minutes here as well as long as the game is competitive. So him and Tatum both look very solid to me. And then the rest of the Celtics, the one guy that I do like quite a bit is Derek White. We've seen Derek White have a really big role in this series. 38 minutes in Game 1, 34 minutes last game. He's been scoring a ton. He's been rebounding, getting assists. He's been doing everything on the floor. He's a guy they like for defense. He plays he plays good defense. He's been playing a lot of defense on Trae Young. So I think Derek White's minutes are very secure here. At 6,100, I still think he's got the upside to pay off this price tag. He's not as cheap as he has been the last few slates, but I still think Derek White does look like a really good option today. And then Marcus Smart at 5,800 is a fine mid-range play as well. His minutes haven't been as high as some of these other guys, but even in 32 minutes in both games of this series, Smart's been productive. 40 DK points, 35 DK points, 5,800. He's a solid guard option. The rest of the Celtics, though, I don't like the rest of these guys too much. Horford at 5,600. Minutes have been pretty good for him. Horford's not a guy, though, that really offers a ton of upside. Never someone that I really ever get excited to roster. Malcolm Brogdon did have a much better game last game, played 28 minutes, had 37 DK points. He's someone you could look to in GBPs. I expect his ownership to be fairly low. Don't know if he plays 28 minutes again, but I think most nights he'll probably get like 23, 24 minutes. In 24 minutes, Brogdon can pay off 5,200. So he is a fine play. Not a guy that I'm in love with, though. Robert Williams, I think, is someone you can look to as a value play. He's been coming off the bench, playing about 22 to 24 minutes a night. He should play 22 to 24 minutes once again here. Robert Williams has always been a really good per-minute producer. I think the matchup for him is pretty good as well. So at 4,500 on a slate with like no value plays, I definitely think Robert Williams is someone that we can look to as a GBP value option. But that'll do it for that game. Let's move on to the next one, Cleveland and New York. So for the Knicks today, Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, I think are both in play here. Randle, so far in the series, has not really been that great. His minutes have also not been super high. We saw him, suffer that injury late in the game last game. It doesn't seem like that's going to really bother him here. He's not on the injury report. He's good to go. At 8,200, the price tag on Randle has come down quite a bit. This kind of feels like a similar play to Trae Young. Just, price tag's coming down. Production hasn't been great, but we know at any point Julius Randle can have a big game. So he's someone you could look to in GBPs. I do like Jalen Brunson quite a bit. He's probably my favorite play on the Knicks. Brunson has just been super consistent in this series. Got up to 36 minutes last game, and that was even in a blowout. He still put up over 40 DraftKings points last game while shooting 5 for 17. Like, imagine if he could have actually made his shots last game. He could have went for 50, 55 DK points. Minutes are going to be through the roof for Brunson. He was in foul trouble in game one, but as long as he avoids foul trouble here, you're probably getting close to 40 minutes from Brunson today. At 7,600, yeah, he can definitely pay off that price tag in 40 minutes. So really like Brunson. The rest of the Knicks, RJ Barrett just in this series has not been that great. Minutes have been okay, but like at 6K, I don't really have a ton of interest in Barrett. Josh Hart coming off the bench, fine, but not a guy that I'm super interested in personally. Mitchell Robinson, just don't think it's the greatest matchup for him. Really nothing else looks that great on the Knicks. I mean, Quickly, a good per-minute producer, but not been playing a ton of minutes in this series. Just when the team's fully healthy, Quickly just doesn't have like a crazy good role. He's going to play probably mid-20s minutes, but I don't know if that's going to be enough for him to really pay off this price tag. So not a guy that I'm super interested in. Really, that's it for the Knicks, I think. So let's talk about the other side of this game now with Cleveland. And for Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell just continues to crush on a nightly basis. Had somewhat of a down game last game, but still put up 46 DraftKings points. Like, his floor right now is just so high. Mitchell, only took 11 shots last game. That should obviously change here. We expect, much more shot attempts for Mitchell. He's going to play huge minutes. At 9,300, Mitchell is a very high floor, safe pay-up option to go to. I feel like you get maybe a higher ceiling from like a Jason Tatum or a Nikola Jokic, who we're going to talk about, but Mitchell firmly in play. Nothing negative to say about Mitchell here. Darius Garland was the guy that really popped off last game, had a big game, 47 DK points. Garland, was disappointing in game one, but it was only a matter of time before he really put up a big game. Garland's a good player. The minutes are going to be through the roof for him. At 7,400, I really like Garland last slate. I played him in my main lineup last slate. Good chance I might play him again on this slate. Just I think 7,400 is a little bit too cheap for Garland when he's getting, probably about 40 minutes here. So he might be my favorite play on the Cavs just from a points per dollar perspective. Mobley and Allen, where they're priced at, both are fine. They're going to get huge minutes as well. Allen's been a guy that I've played a lot just because the center position has kind of been somewhat weak. I feel like on this slate, once again, center's not the best position to, find a ton of great options. So I think Allen's going to be a guy that just, pops into a lot of lineups just because he helps to fill the center position. But the rest of the Cavs, the bench guys, it's really hard to have a ton of interest in the bench guys. I do want to mention that Cedi Osman is questionable for this game, and this is actually kind of important because Cedi Osman has played 19 and 23 minutes off the bench in the first two games in this series. So if Osman does miss, you'll probably see more minutes for Caris LeVert, and I think Caris LeVert would actually become a pretty decent value play if Cedi Osman is out. We did see LeVert get up to 40 minutes last game. Now, Isaac Okoro, I think, just got benched last game. Like, he barely played. He got into some early foul trouble, and, they just didn't even play him. He played 3 minutes. So, don't know if that happens again, but I think LeVert, more times than not, probably is going to be in the closing lineup over Okoro. And obviously, if Cedi Osman is not out there, then that just makes it even more likely that, LeVert gets bigger minutes. So, I definitely would like LeVert if Osman's out. If Osman plays, I think him and LeVert are both viable GBP options. Neither one would stand out, though. The rest of the Cavs, I don't have any interest in, so that'll do it for that game. Let's talk about the last game of the night before we wrap up this video. Obviously, a quicker video, guys. Just on these 3-game playoff slates, we kind of just talk about the same thing every day. These slates kind of just like repeat themselves, but I still like to break them down, give you guys some of my thoughts on these slates. But last game of the night, Minnesota and Denver. So on the Minnesota side, the Timberwolves here, they haven't really played that well in this series, but they did make a late charge last game, and they did actually make last game pretty competitive, at least down to the wire. Now that Minnesota's going back home for this one, you would think this is a game they probably keep competitive. We should see really big minutes for Anthony Edwards. He was amazing down the stretch in that game. He kind of charged them back into it. So I think Anthony Edwards at 8,500. He hasn't been, or he's not as cheap as he has been the last slate. He was 7,800, but I think even at 8,500, Ant is still fine to go to. Karl-Anthony Towns, I definitely think is too cheap at 7,500. Cat so far in the series has not been great, but again, this is a situation where we know that the kind of upside that Cat has. We know as long as the game's competitive and he's not in foul trouble, he's playing really big minutes. Game 1, he lost minutes because of the blowout. Last game, pretty sure he was in foul trouble. He had 5 fouls in those 34 minutes that he played. If he avoids foul trouble here, we could get close to 40 minutes from Cat. At 7,500, that is definitely too cheap of a price tag for Cat if he's going to play 40 minutes. So I really like Cat at 7,500. Gobert at 6,600 actually kind of popped off last game. 36 DK points, played 39 minutes. That was good to see. Only played 26 minutes in game 1, but got back up to 39 minutes last game. I don't know if we get 39 minutes again from Gobert. I think there's definitely a chance that maybe they just go away from him. They just play Towns at the 5, but the fact that he played 39 minutes last game is definitely a positive. I think Gobert at 6,600 is okay. Not a guy that I love, but I think he's a playable option. And then talking about some other plays from Minnesota, Kyle Anderson, Mike Conley, both in the 5K range. Anderson at 5,700 feels priced about where he should be. He's been coming off the bench, playing like 25 to 28 minutes. I would expect that to continue here. Again, 5,700 feels priced about right. Mike Conley, though, I think is definitely a little bit too cheap. We saw Conley, and we have seen so far in the playoffs and in the play-in tournament, Conley's been playing big minutes. He got 44 minutes in that game against the Lakers. The game against OKC was a blowout, played 30 minutes. Game against Denver, game 1 of the series was a blowout, but last game was competitive, and we saw Conley get back up to 38 minutes. So if this game's competitive, I think we're getting high 30s in minutes from Mike Conley. 5,500 is pretty cheap for Mike Conley, especially if we can expect him to get mid to high 30s minutes. So I do like him quite a bit at 5,500. I think he's kind of like a point guard value option you could look to. And then if we're talking about value plays from Minnesota, the one guy that does stand out for value is Taurean Prince. We did actually see them start Taurean Prince over Nickeil Alexander-Walker last game. I'm assuming they're going to do that again. So if Prince is starting, he's going to be a pretty good value play. He was in massive foul trouble last game. That's the reason he only played 18 minutes. He had 5 fouls in 18 minutes. But as long as he avoids foul trouble here, I think we're going to get like 25 to 30 minutes from Prince. And he's really cheap, 3,700, and we don't really have any really cheap value on this slate. So yeah, Prince at 3,700 looks like a really good value play, assuming he does start again. But that'll do it for the Minnesota side. Talking about Denver real quick before we wrap up the video. For Denver, you got Nikola Jokic at the top, 10,700. The first 2 games in this series, Jokic has not been like great. I mean, he's been okay. He hasn't really popped off for like a huge fantasy game. Had 50 DK points last game. The game before that, game 1, was a blowout, and Jokic fouled out in that game. Look, I think Jokic is one of these guys like very similar to some like Trae Young. I mean, we know Jokic can just put up a huge game any night, and even though he's been kind of a disappointment the first 2 games in this series, I wouldn't let that stop me from going to Jokic here. Really, the only issue with Jokic is that he is 10,700. The pricing on these playoff slates is pretty tight. There's not a ton of value, but if you can fit Jokic, he is by far one of the best pay-up options today. No issues going there. He's had a ton of success against Rudy Gobert in the past. I know so far in the series, Jokic hasn't posted many huge games, but it's only a matter of time before he puts up like a 30-point triple-double. So I think Jokic firmly in play today. Jamal Murray popped off for a really big game last game, and he's been great so far in the series. Been playing huge minutes at 8K. Feels priced about right. I don't know if we can expect him to continue to put up 50, 55 DK points every game, but I think Jamal Murray at 8K is firmly in play here. Now, Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr., I'm not as excited about. These guys just, when they're playing with Murray, when they're playing with Jokic, they just don't really offer consistent upside. Now, sure, you could see Michael Porter Jr. get hot from 3 and pop off for a decent game like he did in game 1, but neither one of them are super appealing, MPJ or Gordon. They're just kind of, they're just there. I mean, I don't really think either one looked that great. If I had to choose one of the 2, I think I would side with MPJ, but neither stand out at their price tags. Really nothing else on Denver I'm super interested in. Bruce Brown, KCP, these value guys I don't have a ton of interest in. It's really just like Jokic and Murray that stand out most from the Nuggets. So I think that's it, guys, for this 3-game Friday night slate. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, appreciate you watching. Make sure you guys hit that like button down below. If you did enjoy, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. Be sure to go check out PrizePicks, sponsor of the video. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks and use my promo code Noah. When you sign up, you'll get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you sign up with my promo code. Be sure to check out PrizePicks if you guys have not yet. But that's all that I got for this Friday night slate. Wish you guys the best of luck on this one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, hope you guys enjoy your weekend, enjoy your Friday night, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.